Okay.
Oh,
You all
sorry.
right?
Oh my gosh. I need like a boom manager or something.
It just oh, it's fancy though.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Oh,
Oh,
shice.
shoot.
Sorry. You want to just start?
No. Not with you doing that. I don't think we should start.
Just talk amongst yourselves. Okay.
All right. Is it on?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me? No?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
All right. Your hair is so cute and wavy.
Thank you.
Okay.
We are trying new things. I want to show you my Grateful Dead beanie
Oh, how
for
cute.
Christian. It looks a little scary,
How cute.
but I tried that new Intarsia and also a
Wow.
duplicate stitch where you do it over. It looks a little scary.
It's cute. It's puffy. That's cute. Is that for his wedding?
Well, I owed it to him from Christmas, so he
Oh,
wanted the dancing bears on his hat.
That's pretty cute.
Okay.
Okay. Well, welcome to the Distaff Podcast. Today we're talking about hopefully the same thing we researched. Kind of.
Yeah, I think we always get there. I think we're ready.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're ready? Did you do
Yeah. Yes. One thing I found that was funny, there's this woman, have you ever heard of Nancy Marie Brown? Have you ever come across her in research and stuff?
not that I know of, but I'm not
She's
all-knowing Odin.
Yes, she's written 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 books on this subject. One of the books.
Well, wow, then I'm a loser.
Well, I just discovered her this week. So one of the books is the saga of Gudrid the Far Travel.
Oh.
One is Ivory Vikings, the mystery of the most famous chessmen in the world and women who made them. She did the real Valkyrie, the hidden his. So she's just like she's got.
I actually am reading her Valkyrie book right now. Is it her newest one?
It's 2021.
Oh.
And then she has Looking for the Hidden Folk, How Iceland's Elves Can Save the Earth. Anyway, so she's prolific in, I would say. But in this one, I was reading one of her blogs for today, and her first sentence is, the Icelandic name Snorri, which I admit I cannot properly pronounce, seems to follow me about. So yay! Even she can't really.
I think I knew we'd be friends with her.
What's that?
I knew we'd be friends with her.
Yeah, that's right.
Her rabbit holes sound familiar.
I know.
I'll have to read some. Maybe we'll have to interview her.
I would love that. And she did. What I was reading about is her blog about not reincarnation. Oh my gosh, I'm so out of it today. Replica reenactment. No, like actual. Yeah.
Which one was she involved with?
She says she never will actually get on a Viking ship.
Okay.
But the one she's talking about is the Snorri that was out. They sailed from Greenland to Maine or, Vinland.
Yeah.
A guy named Rob. I will talk about him. Rob
The
Stevens.
Draken one guy.
And so the boat Snorri is a crawl. What is that? Or nar,
Mhm.
the type of boat that Gudrid would have taken to Vinland. So
Yeah.
anyway, I was so grateful. Like, okay, even
Wow,
she
so I
didn't
bet
pronounce.
oh, there's so much to read about. I love this planet right now for some reasons, but that there's we can just read and read and read and read about anything we want, learn about it, think
Mhm.
about it. It's really cool.
Yeah, yeah. There's a trade off with the information technology, right?
Yeah,
May as well enjoy the good since we're suffering through the bad.
yeah.
All the data center things are wild.
I know. I know. But I hope they can figure out a way to make them work with humans
Or yeah, if
or
that's what they're really for.
yeah.
Okay.
Do you know they're closing the CERN down?
They are?
Uh-huh, for maintenance,
Why?
but it'll be closed for
Oh, for
4 years.
maintenance. Don't they do that all the time?
Yeah, it's probably to have a big party or something.
How long is it gonna be closed for?
4 years?
Till 2030?
How
Okay.
convenient.
Okay.
Hey,
Alright. Anyway,
alright.
that's another podcast.
Yes.
Oh, and
Okay,
just in time, my lawn
so
guy's here. Okay.
today we are packing the ship, right?
Mhm.
We're talking about all things ships and what they would take and how you would do it, right?
Yeah, but a
Or
little
what else are we talking about?
that's what I think. I thought it was pretty interesting. There's a little magic thrown in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but tell me you start. What'd you
Mm,
do? How'd you do it?
are you sure? Because I
Yeah.
talked a lot last time.
No, when I edited it, it was all my voice.
No.
All over.
Um, okay, well, I'll start with so we have Gudrid, just married to Thorfinn Karlsefni, who rolled into Greenland right before winter with his 80 men, which if he's a merchant, he would be in the Knar ships,
Mhm.
Knarr. And if he had 80 men, that's probably 2 ships or 3. 2 would be kind of pushing it, but maybe 3 ships that he brought in there with him.
Yeah, depending on sizes. A
Yeah, and
Kumar is 50 feet. It was known as, like, the semi-truck of the Viking ships. It wasn't your long, sleek warrior boats. It was, 50 feet wide or 50 feet long. I don't think I have my measurements, but
it's
anyway.
they just did a reconstruction of they haven't been able to find the biggest one yet because in the burials, I guess Earth flattens them down, so anytime they tried to replicate it, it comes off wonky.
Oh,
So recently, these are a group of Odyssey videos on YouTube. They did replicate, but also reinterpreted Gudrid and Thorstein's voyage. They
yeah.
tried to reimagine their ship, see how it's built, see if it was possible to get North America, which they
Mhm.
confirmed that it was. So, pretty big, pretty heavy ship,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, like a
Um,
semi-truck of the it's huge, I think. Should we get the dimensions? I started
okay.
around I got 50 feet, and then I
And my brain, I don't know what feet are, but it's
so
big. It fits like
huge.
35 people. Um, but so I'm going to start with Neil Price's comment on, and we need to bring in some women commentators. Maybe I'll put he's a great commentator though. But
Yeah.
he says about this voyage that Thorfinn and Gudrid are about to undertake is he says in the popular imagination today, the Vinland voyages are primarily associated with Leif Erikson, Leif the Lucky. But in both sagas, it is clear that the main Norse explorers were the married couple, Thornfinn Karlsefni and Gudrid Thornbarndottir. So no one is disputing that anymore, that she
Yeah,
actually went there. Don't you love
right.
that?
Yeah, because it was. I mean, a lot of it was just disputed that that even happened. A lot of people
Yeah,
don't even know that Vikings were the first, Europeans or whatever on the continent.
yeah,
I mean, I'm old, but I'm not that old, where history hasn't it's exciting that it's changed that much from what we learned in school to what's back,
yeah.
you know?
And I love how in all the story we're telling at this stage in our life, the archaeology has caught up with the
Mhm.
scholarship and has caught up with the sagas, has caught up with all this other stuff. So we're confirming dates, we're confirming that yes, people were there, and it's an exciting time to be storytellers and historians.
Yeah, and anytime now when you read, well, historians disagree or, well, any the word debunk or anything like that, it doesn't scare you off as quickly because
Hmm.
it's I know it's now because I'm paying attention to it, right? It's not like I'm discovering something new, it's just now I'm paying attention to it, but yeah, it just seems like you don't have to be so fearful of some scientist's opinion that it's impossible, and just like we were talking about how they said there could be no Viking women warriors because they couldn't, in their mind, imagine how that could work, even though the proof, the digs, the findings were female warriors, like,
Yeah,
so it just opens your mind up to so many possibilities and to get excited about things and not shut things down so quick and never say
yeah.
never kinda thing, you know? So
And I love the story of the woman that actually found Lonso Meadows, which is the area that Leaf found in Newfoundland, and people were disputing it. And she says, "I think this is a Viking settlement. I really do." And she said she had to battle with her peers to get them to
mhm,
believe her.
mhm,
But that's now it's a verified, documented site. That's where Gudrid and Thornfinn and their group, made their
yeah,
base camp as they did further explanation explorations for years
mhm,
into the America.
yeah, and
So
it's interesting how, so that one town, Logobard over in Estonia or in on the other side,
yeah,
finding had they talk about how they found that village, and it's not like they dig something and something pops up and it's, "Holy it's proven, we know it now," it
yeah,
takes time, maybe they find one piece of fabric and then they study that and they dig it's just a long process where, I don't know, it's just open to a lot of probably argument and ideas and theories, and so it would take longer to come to the conclusion that it is real, but it's just
yeah.
cool. In another life, I would like to go be on a dig somewhere. I think that would be cool.
Me too. And that's why I'm saying there's a lot of raunchiness in this world, but there's a lot of really cool things that as a little girl, how would all these questions you wondered in history classes, now we're getting at least a bigger picture about it, and
Mhm.
what I love about it is still imagination is required and creativity is required in
Mhm.
history and in writing about people's lives and all that. It's a requirement that you
Yeah.
be able to stretch your brain that way.
Right. They try to make the word speculation be a dirty word, and it's not. I think it's a fabulous word, you know?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
even like in our media or government or anything will withhold information because of you might speculate, it's like, "No, let people speculate. We can handle." I don't know. So
Yeah.
this is cool to be
Yeah.
yeah. This week was cool to read about all of this, and How every single thing, "Well, we think they have this on board, but it hasn't been found," but okay, that's fine, let yourself they probably did have dried fish on board, it's okay to say that, it's just
Yeah, and then it's, if you don't do that, if you don't try to fill in their world, that's what storytelling is. You won't you won't get to your next answer, you won't
right,
even be open to, "Oh, maybe that is a piece of fabric that,
right,
belongs to a woman as opposed to something
yeah,
else." So, yeah, it's a fun adventure. So thank you for joining us on it. So
yes,
today we
I
are
interrupt you.
no, no, not interrupted. Let's see.
Okay,
So right now we've got Gudrid, Karlsefni. We know we have two merchant ships. We know we have 80 men that he brought with him, 35 people usually per ship. I don't know if all 80 went on this adventure with them or not. We're not. Do we know how many ships they had to pack
they
to get ready?
speculate that they're so do we need to back up? So we left off where she's marrying Carl Sneffy, and they're getting excited to get on this we talked about all that, right?
We
Getting
talked about Vinland and kind of how they knew about that it was there because Leif had discovered it.
Mhm.
We kind of had talked about, I think we talked about Freitas and the people that were going to be
Yeah,
going with them.
yeah,
Um, we talked about how they sat in the longhouse all winter and kind of planned things out because these aren't just, when you look at the packing list that we've kind of discovered for this adventure, it takes a year long of basically Greenlanders were already prepping because they were surviving. So they had lots of
right.
stores of things. They were used to living that way. Um, but it kind of seems overwhelming when I see it in a list form of everything Gudrid had to pack into that knar and keep it so they could live on the other side of it. It's pretty cool. So
So, yeah, so what I read in her blog, she's saying they think there were 3 ships that Carl Snappy had. Possibly they got, it depends on which saga, but another boat may have come from Gudrid's dad, right? His merchant ship, which would have been like this, a big, wider bottom. The measurements I got, it's 54 feet long, 15 feet across. So 15 feet is like, I don't know, size of a garage, maybe?
yeah, but I'm going to show you um, I'm going to show just a crosshatch picture, maybe.
Yeah, like a normal sized living room or family room, maybe is about 15 feet. Oh, cool, Kim.
So this is kind of what it would look like. It's hollowed out, but yeah, like a living room kind of. Um,
Okay, look how flat. There's
yes,
no big, deep rudder thing.
it's a
What?
flat-bottomed keel.
Mhm.
And we can go into detail about how they built it, but the basics are, um, so here's your ship and it's pretty low to the water and it's built with overlapping wood and iron bolts. So
Mhm.
and it's got a really cool ability to flex and bend with the waves. So a lot of people would describe it as sort of floating on the waves on a good day, I think. Um, there were no cabins.
Right.
Crew slept on deck under woolen blankets or animal skins. If far out to sea, they slept in place near coastlines. They often landed at night and sometimes pitched their tents on shore. It was a I learned it's a cold and wet experience. They did not expect or have a goal to be dry ever. So their fabric that we'll talk about was made to be warmer even when it got wet. And
Mhm.
all their foodstuffs were stored in such a way that water didn't maybe enhanced it at most, and we can talk about that. But so I'm going to stop doing that. But you continue with the description,
Oh, well,
if you want
it's
to.
just off the top of my head from what I was reading. Just, the reenactments that they did were he described it as, like you said, they're just constantly wet, just always wet. If you have the right wool, kind of then you will be wet, warm, wet, you know,
Yeah,
constantly wet. I mean, they must have been just pruned up and wet the whole time. And they didn't have a cover unless they could put a cover if they wanted to, usually when they were beached or when they were, not traveling.
mm-hmm,
They could have oars or their sail, depending on it. A lot of the
mm-hmm,
movies, you'll see that they put the shields up along the side where they hang their weapons. That wasn't always true because salt water was so hard on they wouldn't do that
mm,
all the time.
mm-hmm.
Mm. And then a lot of times the benches that they sat on would Mike, are you already gonna say this? Would be where they could stow some other goods, their clothing, food. Their food was in barrels. Is that true?
Yeah,
What you
yeah,
read?
yeah.
And it could be stowed in barrels and then the livestock. So you just picture it. They wouldn't do a fire on the boat, except one place said that if they had to cook, they could have like a sand box on board that they would build the fire in or cook
And then
with.
a cauldron they would
Yes.
have a cauldron for
Uh-huh.
warm, but they didn't expect to eat warm food.
No, and I mean, we've gotta remember that Viking travel wasn't big, long. This is why this Vinland trip is so unique, is that this is a weird, unique trip they're going on, right? Yeah.
Well, they're going to settle. Leaf had a house at least built for them, or a setup where they
Mhm.
perhaps didn't have to bring their big lodging poles and stuff, but still, it's not like, it's a Hilton at the other end.
Right.
You've gotta live once you get there. You're settling. So a settler is different even than an explorer.
Right. Yeah.
Um, you're bringing women, you're bringing pregnant women. In this case, we know that Gudrid and Freydis, if not pregnant on the ship, they would give birth over in America.
Yeah.
So, so it's not just like it's not like what probably Leaf and the boys are used to, and even Carl Sefney on his trading trips where you're kind of going lean, you're going to go to the next port city. There, it's a little different than that. But as you're mentioning, when I think of they went all the way across the Atlantic to America, I'm thinking 4 months. But how
Right.
many days was it on a good day from Greenland to
Do you know that exact number?
I do. I'm being
Oh,
in
good.
my teacher mode.
As you were saying that, I was realized, I think 2 weeks?
On a good if everything's well, it could be 5 days from Greenland, and you can optimally keep the coastline in your sights. Most of
Yes.
them sail north up Greenland's coast, and then it's a 3-day, 4-day at most out in the open water to, Newfoundland.
Yeah.
So it's obviously admirable in a lot of ways because you're going through Iceberg Alley, you're up in the it's not easy, but
Right.
it's also not that's probably why the animals could survive. They're doing a 5-day,
Yeah.
um, getting everything over their trip.
Yeah. And a lot of they don't talk about it, but I imagine there may have been some coming and going back and forth.
Yeah, there would have
Even
to be.
even in the saga, I think it's Eric the Red saga, um, they talk about a man that goes with him that was well versed in, sorry, my words are going off. Well versed in Vinland already, or well-versed
Yeah.
in exotic travel or something like that, where
Yeah.
you get the idea that this was a big voyage, they were excited, but like you said, Leif had already been over there, established a winter camp. Thorvald had already been over there and died, well, unless we're
Mhm.
gonna in one saga, but the back and forth was pretty. I mean, maybe the big adventure was that they were going to settle it, not so much that they were going to well, they were gonna explore it too. So
I think that's I mean, because if you think about how Eric the Red was banished for, like, 3 years, he spent 3 years going back and forth from Ice not really going back to Iceland because he couldn't, but, like, exploring the different fjords, mapping
mhm,
things out, and so it would be not right to think that Gudrid was the first group that,
right.
they would know some stuff about what they were heading for. Um,
Similar to even Iceland and Greenland, that the people that get credited with discovering it were actually just the people that, uh, settled it, other
yeah,
people who've been there and died there and but
yeah, and,
yeah.
yeah, it's a mobile group, and, unlike the immigration stories you hear now where there's no return, they absolutely, I think, felt like they could return if they needed to, and the world was s closer than they thought, and if it's only 4 or 5 days, that's how long I think it takes longer for them to get to Ireland from, Iceland than Greenland to North America, possibly.
Mhm, currents would make that,
Yeah.
you know yeah, so that's the packing for it is they're not just packing for a sea voyage, they're packing for settlement on the other end, which means they're bringing their weaving tools, their cooking tools. If there
Mhm.
really were 180 men that went, people, not just men, people that went, then or 160, then you have
Yeah.
supplies for all those people, the livestock, we know they bring a big bowl. So the hustle bustle, the excitement of getting ready for this trip is just what I love always, like I say, my favorite part of any
Yes.
nonfiction book is the preparation for whatever journey or adventure
Yes.
expedition they're
I
about to go on.
I love it, and, so I made a list, or tried to make a list if I were Gudrid, what I would need
Oh,
to put on my list.
okay.
But what did you do?
No, tell me, what did you as Gudrid put on your list?
Okay. Well, and I had some help from different sources, but,
Good.
um, a a Canard carries 20 to 30 people-ish, plus 20 tons of cargo. Um, so provisions for the voyage, and you have to consider 3 to 5 weeks because of even though it's 5 days on a good day,
Right,
um, things bad things happen.
right.
So, and we can cut this out if it's too boring, but let me just tell you and see how overwhelming this would be.
Yeah.
So so you're saying how many people? 80-ish,
Well,
probably?
anywhere from 80, 160 is what they're guessing at. 3
Yeah.
boats. 3 boats, assuming one's for sure at least 2 probably are these big old Nar ships, maybe
Mhm.
1, you know,
Maybe a
so
smaller ship and
100
2.
people, 100 people maybe roughly, say?
Okay. So, these are the provisions for the voyage.
Okay,
Now, this is all, again, speculation, but I
good, we
had a fun, nerdy time.
love
So so you would need dried stockfish, which is your primary protein, cod, haddock, heavily salted and dried. You'd need an unleavened rye or barley bread dried
Mhm,
hard, which a lot of people call hardtack or flatbread. So think about this. They're not just hanging out all winter in the longhouse. They're trying to pull all this together
mhm,
for in like 4 months, right?
Yeah.
You need dried peas and beans. It's good because it's high calorie, cooked as porridge underway. Dried berries and fruit for vitamin C source. Ale and mead. We talked about how hard that is to make.
Yeah.
And those are stored in barrels sealed with pitch. So they had to make the barrels, get the pitch. Rendered lard and tallow, cooking fat used for fuel and weatherproofing. This is just the voyage. And then their fermented dairy, the skyr yogurt.
Yes, right.
That would be soured in wooden barrels, and it's supposedly very shelf stable. Smoked mutton and lamb, salted and smoked curd packed in barrels, oats and barley grain, multiple sacks of that, salt, a very large quantity, fresh water casks, multiple large barrels, honey, sweetener, preservative, minor wound treatment, which we know in Greenland, honey was kind of scarce. Um, so that's just to get you on the voyage. And think about these open bodied ships. There's
Yeah.
nowhere dry.
Right.
So then you pack probably below all this because you wouldn't need it during the voyage, grain seed stocks because you're taking animals, so you've got to feed them. A bulk of dried fish for the first year until a hunting fishing rhythm is established.
Yeah.
Dried mushrooms and herbs, medicinal and culinary, juniper, angelica, and yarrow, which, if you're just planning this trip in December, I guess
How
you're
to
gonna
get your
wait. I
yarrow.
think they left
Yeah.
in June, so they'd have the spring probably to pack everything up.
And the one good thing they have with both sagas, the only one really consistent thing is that Leif in both sagas had been there first. They have a little bit of data on what
Yes.
they know they'll find self-sowing wheat, but they don't know how they know they'll find they think are grapes. Um,
Right.
they kinda know what they have, but I
You're right.
like, they don't know anything else. They know they'll have those, right?
Yes, and you're right. There is, Leif even knew at the site that there were peat bogs there where they could, smite or whatever it is, make the iron to make
Uh-huh.
nails. So he knew a lot about it. You're right. So that would make it a lot easier. Um, so you'd need hay for the livestock during the crossing, which can't go bad in
Yeah.
your open decked
Salt
boat.
laundry, yeah.
Cheeses, you'd want hard aged variety, wax sealed salt. You would need a bulk supply for this is all for the settlement. 200 pounds plus fish preservation, meat curing. Smoked meats in bulk packed in brine barrels, sheep, goat, and horse meat. Live animals, which you need cows. I can tell you the exact times, but we'll just keep it general. Butter in barrels, salt packed butter, extremely self
Oh,
chafe.
no, say the livestock.
Okay.
I'm nerdy too, I like this. Is it
Okay.
chickens and
So livestock would be on board, would be cattle, which would be Norse shorthorn,
'kay.
small hardy breed, compact cold tolerant cattle that produce modest but reliable milk. Archaeology at the Greenland settlements in North Atlantic said cattle were kept in that harsh climate. So Leif would have known his cattle made it. Lanso Meadow has milder summers and abundant grass, just like you're saying. So a single cow produced 3 to 5 liters daily would generate meaningful surplus if the cows made it.
if the cows made it. If you didn't
Then
take
you need and so for cows, what they're gonna give you is milk, butter, cheese, yogurt, meat, hide for leather, bone for tools, and they could be work animals.
and they
And
have one
then
other purpose we'll find out later.
oh,
The
oh,
bull
oh,
uses
the bowl. We can't forget the bowl.
can be
Yeah.
used for defense too, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Then there were goats, hardier, cheaper, versatile alternative cattle. Norse household kept both. It can survive on rougher forage than a cow, needs less space on the ship, and produces proportionally excellent milk for its side. It makes good cheese. For 3-year expeditions where animals had to survive the crossing and establish them in unknown territory, goats were considered an insurance policy. And they
Mhm.
would do milk, cheese, meat, hide. And then they had their sheep because they were going to knit.
Yeah, they had to have
And
their
it's an
wool.
Icelandic breed. Um, Double coat, like you're talking about, it has the coarse outer layer, the tog, and the fine inner layer that can be separated and spun differently. And it produces 2 different types of yarn from one animal, like you said, a waterproof outer garment and a fine inner garment wool. Um, if the woolen items were being traded with Skrellings, which was their names for the indigenous people they might meet, sheep may have already been at the settlement from Leif's
Yeah,
expedition. Um, Wool cloth was one of Iceland's and Greenland's primary export goods. The women of the expedition would have been shearing, carding, spinning, and weaving continuously throughout their 3-year stay. So
yeah.
also this would make cords, their guts would make cords for sutures and rope and all that kind of stuff, and
Mhm.
the sailcloth, which is wadmal. That's that fancy. They likely had horses because they were going there to do timber harvesting. Um, so they likely had that. They possibly brought pigs with them. Um, a breeding pair brought on the voyage could establish a small herd within a year. Lard was critically important as cooking fat, waterproofing material, and lamp fuel. They had their
Wow.
dogs. They had their kitty cats, of course.
Mhm.
Um, so anyway,
I wonder
those
how
are the
much of
animals.
this, so we know the indigenous people, well, maybe I'm spoiler alert, but I'm just wondering how much of this from them was introduced into this continent. We know that the
Hmm.
cow, the bull, was a shock to the people that already
Yes.
lived there. So that means cattle, I don't know, it's just interesting to think how much when they did leave, eventually, did they leave behind or what happened in those 3 years, you know?
I think they definitely would have left all this the I mean, I know even in, like, the Montana areas, you can still find the dumb European, fodder that all the pioneers planted that mess with the indigenous plants. It's
Yes, right.
they're
Yes, right.
they're still there. Yeah, that's such a good point. And then you wonder, the indigenous folks, the cattle would have left behind if they ran away.
Yeah.
They wouldn't bring their cattle home. So, yeah.
So it's interesting. And horses,
Yeah.
you know? We know the Spanish brought the horses on, southernly, horses were introduced, unless I'm wrong. I thought they're from Spain. But anyway, it's interesting.
Yeah, and later, scholars and academics and historians really believe that the trade started with humans started happening both ways, so that you would start seeing in Iceland and Greenland some plants that were brought over back home from North America and stuff.
And that's right. In the saga, there is one little reference to an already established contact with the indigenous people in North America, with Ireland even, that they had
Yeah.
sailed over and witnessed the Druids, you know?
Yes, that's right. Like, it wasn't a
So
surprise to them that these people kept popping up.
right, right. So we were
Yeah,
getting ahead of ourselves, but this is what
yeah.
we had to look forward to in the Vinland
But it
section.
is nice to imagine that she did have some kind of a heads up for
Yes,
packing for
I
this
want
trip.
to bring if yes, because right, in both sagas, Leif had already been there and established something. Um, yeah.
But you think about the, part of managing a household then, like Bradley, Eric the Red's, household, is at a moment's notice, being ready not only to provide for your own needs for the next winter, but also to send your traders or your explorers out um, to get ready for the
Yeah.
next, that's a
And
lot of
it would be a
management.
woman's job. That's the woman's job is to run
Yeah.
home, the farm, the industry, you know, the preparations. It would have been a woman's job to be prepared for visitors and company because status is that you're ready and you can, feed them and clothe them. And so
Yeah.
with that mind, maybe it was kind of a natural thing for a woman who is running this land-based operation to then move it into a sea-based operation,
Yeah.
you
And
know?
and as we're learning, women were actually kind of vital on the ships. So it's not like and as we know with Greenland, women of the settlements were regularly going up every summer to get the
Yeah,
walrus and um so they were good on land and sea.
yeah.
Their skills traveled. Um
Another thing they
then
brought were ravens, maybe,
oh, yes, tell me about that. Other
because
animals?
there's just other Viking, Norse sagas or stories where they would bring ravens with them to go find the part of navigation even, which I guess we'll talk about next.
Yeah.
The
Mhm.
ravens, they could be used to let them go, and whichever way they went is where land would be, or if they circle around
Yep.
and they come back, then it's very Noah's Ark. Then, they know they're not close to land, you know?
Yeah. I
So
mean,
that
that stems and we could have a whole full-on conversation about Odin and
yeah,
the
that's right.
polar indigenous communities all circling there where they use birds and eagles and animals
Uh-huh.
to
To
help them
navigate.
see farther.
Yeah, the navigation part was cool. Are you ready to talk
Yeah.
about the navigating a little bit?
Okay, I'm just gonna give this list and overwhelm you. So
Oh, are
this
you still on your list? Oh, do
yes,
it.
I'm gonna read it off for 3 minutes,
Okay.
and I want you
Wait,
to
I
figure
thought
out
you were done. Keep going.
I want you to figure out how you're gonna pack it, okay? So here we are at the ships.
'Kay.
So you need in addition to the food, you need timber harvesting tools. So you need 6 to 8 broad axes, you need 12 iron wedges, 4 adzes, which squares timber. You need augers and bore bits for drilling holes for pegs and joints because the ship again requires this what's the word? Restoration or reimagination of the Canar ship that this Draken group did out of Norway. They made 10,000 iron bolts by hand
Cool. Okay.
for one ship. Whittling knife, every person carries one, as one does.
Yes. Mhm.
Ox or a horse drag harness for hauling the felled timber to the shore. 2 frame saws for plank cutting, 10 hand axes, 4 to 6 wooden mauls, 4 draw knives, chisels of various sizes, 4 to 6 whetstones, heavy hemp ropes in long coils. Someone said you needed like 140 miles of rope for the
Oh,
rigging for this.
I believe
Bark
it.
scrapers. You need thousands of iron nails, portable bellows for
Mm.
on-site tool repair, so you have to stoke up your fires, charcoal in sacks, 3 to 4 shovels and spades, 6 to 8 wooden buckets, knotted rope for measuring cords, surveying, and layout, 6 hammers, iron stock. You need raw iron to forge new tools, tongs and forge tools, picks and mattocks, pulleys and tackle blocks for lifting the heavy timber, roofing turf tools to make more longhouses. So they thought of here's everything.
Yeah.
So for ship supply and navigation, you need 2 of those huge wool sails you were talking about the other day. One wool, one woven wadmal wool, and you need a full replacement sail, so you
Mhm.
can't be
Yeah,
dumb
they were
about it.
required to have 2.
Yeah. You need
Well, supplied by
pitch
who,
and
but
tar in barrels for caulking and hull maintenance because that's what held it together. 6 replacement oars in case Olaf drops his. You need your sundial or sunstone, a crystal for overcast navigation, which I learned that calcite
yes.
was used for that on overcast
Yeah.
days. That's our show and
Yeah.
tell. I'm almost done.
No, I love it.
You need a steering oar, a spare, because they only had one rudder, which steered and it was on the side of the ship. Square rigging ropes, and made out of walrus hide and hemp
Okay.
for shrouds, halyards, and stays. You need a tallow and animal fat for waterproofing hull planks, ropes, and leathers. You need bailers and hand pumps, constant bilge work because you're in an open boat. You need a lead line and a depth rope for sounding out shallow waters. You needed 4+ lanterns made of iron for the night watch. So
Wow.
here's the women's clothing. That's all I cared about for 3 years. You need your 2 to 3 heavy wool cloaks, which is your primary outer layer. 4 to 5 wool tunics per person layered under the cloaks. 3 to 4 sets of linen undergarments worn next to the skin. 2 to 3 apron dresses that we've talked about. That goes over your linen shift. 3 pairs of leather shoes or boots per person. 3 pairs of mittens, wool and fur. 2 pairs of working gloves. So because everyone's in charge of the rigging. Linen cloth and bolts for undergarment, bandaging, general textile use. Think of
Wow.
trying to keep all this dry.
I don't know if you even
3
would.
and then both men and
No?
women wore 3 pairs of wool trousers with the leg wraps. Fur-lined overcoats.
That's
That would
nice.
be cozy.
Heavy.
Wool socks, leg wrappings, wool hats and hoods, 2 per person, extra wadmal wool in bulk, so you got to make repairs,
Yeah.
leather aprons to forge and axe work. So women were
Wow.
forging, they were axe. I mean, yeah. Then then you need all your textile. Is this boring?
No, this is
Then
fascinating.
you need, so that you're packing all this, then you need your textile and domestic tools. You need an upright loom. You need your carding combs, your threads, your linen and wool. You need your quern stones, which 2 of them is your rotary hand mill, grinding your grain to
Mhm.
flour, frying pans and spits, tallow candles in bulk, spindle whorls made
Mhm.
out of bone or stone, 50+ needles made of bone and iron,
Mhm.
shears, iron, 2 to 3 shearings, 2 to 3 cauldrons. You
Yeah.
need a butter churn. You need oil lamps. And think about if you got cows and goats, you got to go down there in rough seas and milk them every day
Yeah, and scoop out their poo.
and make the dumb butter and stuff.
Urine. It probably was a mess.
Oh,
Stinky
disgusting.
mess. Yeah.
So then you need your medicine kit, linen bandaging in bulk for axe injuries are common, yarrow herb, which we love to staunch
Yeah.
bleeding, angelica root, willow bark, honey, mugwort, combs, juniper berries, bone needles, and gut thread midwifery kit,
Mhm.
soap, lye soap cakes, iron lancet. I mean, already it's not like they're going to Amazon.
I know. And
And
this again,
everything
this
has
is
to have a
they're doing
box.
it for the world.
I know. So then they need weapons, and everybody had to have a set of weapons. And
Mhm.
some people were even fined if they got on board with no weapons.
Wow.
So everyone had to have an iron sword, 1 or 2 for
Mhm.
each adult. Every adult had to have a round shield. Every adult had to have 4 to 6 longbows for hunting and defense. Everyone had 2 to 3 sets of chainmail. Um, Everyone had a single backup, which were slings and stones, which they just used. 1 spear per adult. one huge knife, 100 arrows, 2 to 3 iron helmets. So
Dang.
Gudrid would have had this
Yeah, that's cool.
and knew how to use it.
Knew how to use it. Wow. So training as a little kid was a serious thing.
Yes,
Teaching
for
them how to do all
even
this.
because they knew that, um, contact with other I mean, that's what happens, Vikings
Mhm.
contact people. Then they even thought about the trading goods, so they brought enough of the red cloth, the wad mall that they knew most indigenous people loved for some reason. Milk and dairy gifts, iron knives, silver hack silver, so little pieces of silver. Beads, iron tools, glass beads. Okay, almost done.
I
Then
love
you
that.
need your hunting, fishing, and trapping. Fishing nets out of hemp, 2 to 3 large of them. Fish traps, wicker for eel and small fish. Lake traps, iron snares for small game, rabbit, marten, and beaver. Smoking rat components, iron hooks and chain, game preservation. These are not cavemen. Like,
No.
this is 1000 AD.
Right.
Um,
Our
fif-
pioneers didn't pack much you could be listening a pioneer in 1800s
and they
person's
wouldn't have as much as these guys
right.
have.
Right.
And they made it all themselves.
Technology wasn't much different though, it's not like it's amazing that
No, isn't that interesting?
Mhm.
Yeah. So they had fishing lines and hooks, 50 plus hand lines and set lines, bulk iron hooks, hunting dogs, 2 to 4 dogs, tracking and fleshing game, skinning and hide tools. And the last thing I have on the list are ritual and spiritual items, usually Thor's hammer amulets, which can
Mhm.
be, at their time, blended with the cross, bone
Mhm.
and antler dice, a vulva staff. When I checked on the jobs on board, there was always a vulva.
Yes, I read that too.
And then musical instruments, rune sticks for tallying logs,
Mhm.
the henna thoughtful game board, strategic board game, and women's keys and rings. So
That is fantastic.
how the heck are they gonna get them on that thing,
With
feed the animals, feed and then if you look at how hard the ships were to manage, it's not like they have a button to push to make the sail go up and down.
no.
So
And
anyway,
with
what do you think about
or
that?
learn to use the sail and how to it's the skill set on these people is amazing.
I know. And I guess Greenlanders, with all the archaeological digs, they do find lots of runes, but it was mostly for counting things. They were
Mhm.
mostly counting things, which kind of shows that they were good at logistics
Yeah.
and
They had to be
trading.
organized, yeah. They definitely
Yeah.
had to be organized.
Yeah, because
Trade.
people are gonna die if you pack that barrel wrong.
Mhm. You lose your fresh water, even on a 5-day trip, no fresh water, you're all done, you
Yeah, you're
know?
done.
They
You're
had
done.
mead, they took mead with them a lot to drink, you know, in lieu of
Mhm.
fresh water, but, um, yeah, just it's exciting, it's the logistics are always exciting to me too, how they did it and
And you think
how they
about you mentioned those wooden boxes that they used, to sit on when they had the oars. Those are the boxes I believe show up in burials.
Uh-huh,
Everyone seems to
right,
have a box
mhm.
that would
That
have their
holds
personal items.
I read that they put the water and all the heavy stuff in the center of the boat that helps it not tip over. But this man, again, who did this reenactment said that they tried it and they got maybe 30 miles out or something, and they had support boats and, you know, um, but the waves coming over just would literally beat them up, and they were all throwing up and just it was constantly wet, nothing stayed dry. It just, if you're going in the summer and you know your weather enough to know you're gonna be okay, you can get there on good weather, but there's no guarantee. It's I don't know.
It's
Right.
just, I mean, what strikes me in looking at these lists and learning how the ships are built and learning how they navigate them and stuff is, they weren't going into it blind, but they also knew their the odds of surviving are really not good.
Yeah, they're
Like, if
not
you
trying there's no attempt at buoyancy once you fall out of the boat. They're
I
in wool,
know!
they've got hammers and axes,
Yeah. I
like, they
wondered
just
about that. Because in all these reenactments or whatever, they have like in the Bering Strait, the deadliest catch guys. I love that show, but they
Uh-huh.
have their safety suits.
Yeah,
And even then you've got 2 minutes to survive.
yeah,
So,
yeah, this guy said he wasn't hypothermic, but the whole time he was near just about on the verge of hypothermia the whole time. It's just I don't know, and the idea that so this is a a Christian boat full of mostly Christians, right? We're gonna
mhm,
assume. So going with that, but they had these I don't think they let go of their superstition, or at that point, maybe that's what they call it. Like you said, there was a Volva on a
that's what I
Volva
wanna talk about because
yeah,
that's where Freydis and Gudrid on a ship together gets kinda interesting,
yeah,
because the stakes are so high. Like, half of the ships that would leave, you knew weren't coming home.
right. I have
Yeah,
5 different magical practices, I'm sure you do too,
let's
that
hear
would be
'em.
part of a voyage like this.
'Kay.
And again, um I don't know. The whatever. Would a Christian also allow this to still happen? I think we're saying yes, probably.
I think, I think it's like a syncretic, syncretic practice where you're gonna take any
Right.
helpful item.
Hedge your bets.
Yes, that's what I
Um, and there were pagans that came on this trip. They aren't written very it's Thorvald, he was a pagan, and he was and then there's these 2 other pagan, a man and a woman. But anyway
well, and Freydis was decidedly not decidedly, but in my mind, pagan. I
oh,
don't
I
think
think so
she
too.
followed after her
Right.
mother.
Right. Well, she's, yeah, because we don't even know if Torthild was her mom. Erica's definitely her
Right, that's
dad,
right.
but she okay, so you have your cedar rituals. So the Vola would enter a trance. There's also men that would do this. They have a different word. It's a word for wizard. Using a staff to ride into the spirit world to secure safe passage to kind of bargain for this trip. So this would happen before
Hmm.
this voyage. So I imagine it happened and
Mhm,
someone did it, right?
mhm,
Um, the Vard Loker, did you read about that? The warding songs. I
mhm.
also thought it was Galder. There's a name of a magic that uses voice and with
Well,
the
that's what, they say that Gudrid sang at the
okay,
yeah,
yeah.
so Gudrid was equipped with that.
So it's high-pitched hypnotic chants performed by assistants to protect the shaman and communicate with spirits during the ritual. So yes, that's kind of what Gudrid did. So picture this, your boat's packed, you're ready, and now you have to do these last minute magic
Yeah,
things to get on board.
which
But
I
what do
think
you
are
wanna say?
just
I feel like you have all this.
no, I just spewed a bunch of stuff I like, and now I wanna hear where you went. I
Okay.
wanna hear I'm really interested in the spiritual
Okay.
baggage.
Then weather manipulation was a thing back then.
Yes, who
Who
knew? And
knew?
women were good at it. Women were
Yeah.
really good at it.
So it was the women, the seerresses, were consulted to influence weather, summoning favorable winds or crafting storms to sink enemy ships. So, you
Well,
have anything
because they could control yeah, they could bargain with anybody. You're gonna bargain with the gods of the waters, and if you think back to our first season, you know, how many hundreds of years later, 600 years later, you'd have women accused of creating storms that killed the
Yes,
queen
right,
of whoever coming
right.
over and her
Queen
ship,
of
and
Scotland.
yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So that was a thing. Astral travel, again, it's similar, it sounds like, to the cedar, but Vikings believed in projecting their hugger. So their hugger, remember, that's your mind and soul, your inner part,
Mhm.
for reconnaissance and shape shifting, like into the animal, like into the whale, to go and see which is the best way to go or where the fair winds are. Um, and then
Like the
runes.
ravens kinda sending those out
Yeah,
ahead. Mhm.
right. And then runes and Galder. So they had specific travel runes, um, are more common in later medieval Icelandic grimoires, but Vikings use so these travel runes, I'm sure they did something like there's a rune, Raid Ho, that's for good travel. Um, they they would have used them somehow. I don't know if they would have etched them on their boat, um, just kind of for like a good luck thing.
Mhm.
But also more. And then, Vikings used the sung spells and carved runes to perform some kind of magic for protection. So,
And this is all before kinda like them, blessing or getting the ship ready and everyone ready
yeah,
mentally, right?
spiritually, mentally, making sure all your you're covered as far as what gods were gonna be helping you, what spirits were gonna be protecting you, and, yeah, similar to saying a prayer before you go on a road trip,
Mhm.
kinda.
Mhm. Yeah, and also I love the idea because there was one, god in particular over the sea that they would always
Your yeah.
that yeah,
Mhm.
and, I read somewhere that if you were a Christian on that ship, in your mind, you could easily relate it to that passage where the God's spirit moves over the waters. So somehow they were able to
Mhm.
justify
Yeah.
there's a God spirit out there that I can still bargain with. Like, it's okay to
Yes.
talk to Norn, out on my ship or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, there probably was a lot of mental, gymnastics going on or,
Yeah,
spiritual
yeah,
gymnastics going on,
yeah.
but to come because at that point, you would just want help from anywhere that it was gonna come from.
Yeah, and if you think about how prepared they were in their earthly goods, they're gonna be that and sailors are superstitious, but your spiritual practices are another type of armor that I would not mess with if I was
No.
going into the unknown.
And I wonder in 1000 AD how what the Christian church's idea, if they even had anything similar to that, if that was even part of the religion yet of protection and
I think it's
blessings for
if we
travel.
just focus on Iceland and what you've talked about, how they came to terms with it as, publicly we're gonna do this, but privately you can continue your own thing. I think they developed like what you're saying,
Mhm.
cognitive dissonance
Right.
almost with
Yeah.
those things. Um, I read that navigational gifts of women were a blend of so the navigational gifts in addition to having your vulva on board, which she probably was one and the same, women would blend technical expertise and spiritual influence, while men primarily this is one source, primarily handled the physical tiller. Women's unique skills in textile magic and ritual were considered essential for a ship's survival.
Awesome. And that's over how many different voyages on how many different ships. It must have been very real to them, you know,
Yeah.
been proven out in many different situations.
Yeah.
Can you
So
imagine that?
every
And so you're on the boat and the women are up front
for
using
sure.
and going into trances or drawing
Yes.
runes.
Um, well, like you mentioned, so here she is standing in front. These are some of the things she was doing up there. She was calming the seas, as you said. They communicate with spirits to calm the waves or predict. Um, they did something called wind calling. So tell me if you already have this.
No, to keep going. You do
Um,
your list.
Sagas describe kings and Vikings consulting women to change the wind so their fleets could sail favorably, like you're saying, and the spirit songs. And then practical gifts of guidance. Women on a Knar were often responsible for observing subtle signs of nature, such
Mhm.
as the behavior of birds or color of the sea,
Yeah.
sunstones, calcite crystals. Um, and the women were in charge of hanging on to these tools. Um, and
Yeah.
also what I find interesting, you mentioned the animal and the shape-shifting. I guess dolphins were considered, the shape-shifting of women or the spirits of your distir or your,
Cool.
grandmothers going ahead of you, and so one of these reenactants, they went through the path between the icebergs from those 4 days of just water and icebergs, and talked about how bright and light it was and how many dolphins there were or how many, aquatic
Cool.
mammal life that was out there, and I'm thinking so you think of Gudrid standing on the prow of the ship trying to communicate with all of them, or,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
or read the wind or, make sense of all that as she
Nobody's
had
thinking she's weird or anything. No
no,
judgment on any
like,
of that.
"Gudrid, go stand up there and figure it out." And, and then you think of Freitas on that ship with her, who's not Christian, who is kinda like a Valkyrie lady,
She
kinda
is, yeah.
rough and tough, and, um, I don't know, it would be very interesting if they got along or not.
I wonder if she was the vulva for it, and that's why she was written so raunchily in the Christian.
Oh,
One doesn't even
well,
acknowledge her, the other one just writes her as a terrible. We'll
sh
tell her story, but she had
that
choices were made, you know?
that would make a lot of sense, and you can see if this ship's trying to marry these 2 Christianity and pagan, if you had both ladies on board,
Mhm.
and, Gudrid, we know, can sing the right songs, maybe get Freitas into a trance or whatever, that would be really helpful.
The other thing is that Gudrid has already experienced a shipwreck
I
before.
know.
So whatever magic was helping them or not helping, if it was a boat full of Norse, well, and one, it's if she was married to that Torrier, if she had been married first to a Norse guy, it would have been pagan and they crashed or they shipwrecked. And then the other time she's with Thornstein, her new Christian husband, and they also shipwrecked. I don't know, I'm blending sagas, but I wonder what her
I do wonder
trauma
what
was with that.
what her trauma was.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because and the first shipwreck, she lost her pagan foster mother. She lost the woman
Mhm.
that brought her up in
Others,
all
I
those
think.
ways.
Mhm. Yeah, and
And
maybe a husband, and then the other one, if you one saga is that she crashed. One saga says that they tried to do this journey, she and Thornstein,
oh,
earlier
okay.
and sailed around all summer aimlessly and then shipwrecked, and that's where he died. So, I don't know, the I makes me think that she probably would have been open to all of this and probably
Yeah,
knowledgeable about it, maybe, but
yeah. I think if she's a reckoning woman, you're gonna use your tools. I mean, I think that if Karl Stefani had 80 such men. Not all of them, probably very few of them were Christian men if they were Viking
Yeah.
Viking mariners, that
Mhm.
you'd have a good healthy blend and they wouldn't stand for the ceremonies not happening.
Yeah.
And let alone think about Gudrid. You have to appease the land spirits on the coast you're heading towards. Her ship sank right as they couldn't get into the land, which means they didn't appease the spirits right.
Right. And if they were a
I
boat
don't
full of
know.
Iceland, they wouldn't have taken because you have to take the hull or the masthead off if it's shaped like anything scary like a dragon. Before you
Yeah,
approach Iceland, you have to take that off so you don't scare away the land spirits. Yeah, so they have a whole bunch of the mental preparation, the spiritual preparation. You did an awesome job with the material preparation to get ready to go.
yeah. And then as we go, I want to hear what's your interest in the next steps that she's going on?
I think let's lay the foundation for Vinland. Let's talk about the land Vinland and what it was. Because first they land pretty far up north where it's just all rocks. I think it's northern Canada.
Mhm.
And then, I don't know, I think that's to talk about that and the experience of landing in this new land. Talk more about it, I think, next
Yeah.
time,
Yeah. Okay.
and what it was they
Yeah.
were gonna find and how they set it up. The indigenous people they meet there, her experience with the ghosts or the 2 Gudrids,
Mhm.
um,
So
and
we'll just
then
flow.
yeah, and do you feel like we have to go back? Because then we're getting to the end of her story.
That's okay, because there's
Okay,
more women to come.
okay.
She's setting it. I have a little more interest in what she would have done on the ship. Maybe.
Oh, do you wanna talk about it right now?
No, I think we're good. I think you
Oh,
covered it. I
for
think
next
we're
time you
good.
wanna talk about let's talk about their voyage more because we should talk about voyage in just the sense of the voyage because we do have more to talk about with the navigation. We could talk about other people's voyages, positive and
Yeah, I'd like to put her in there, and because no one really, up until a few years ago, even thought a woman, let alone the whole
yeah.
Vikings made it over there. I'd like to put her in there.
Okay, so we
I
today
don't
we
know.
tacked the ship,
Okay.
and next time we actually go and we got our spiritual preparation,
Yeah,
let's
and
go
we'll
on the
talk more
voyage.
about that for
Yeah,
sure.
that's cool.
I'm sure you had more to talk about, but are you happy?
This was a it felt like just let's list out the things, get an idea for it, because I
Yeah,
love that's always
yeah,
interesting to
and
me.
they were smart. They weren't just dodos, so anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think they knew where they were going, I think they had good intel, I think and they were up for exploring, they were going to settle for sure, but they also knew that they were going to be breaking off into groups and exploring and, you know,
yeah.
and where they
They
go
were
is
doing what
amazing.
they do. It's a good example of what they do when they get to a new place, and
Mhm.
you can see, how Vikings easily spread throughout
Yeah.
that time.
Like the Great Heathen Army was made up of just as many women and children and all the stuff you just listed off. They brought all that with them to land in England
Yeah,
and take over, and they did, and the fact that they were settling I mean, they knew how to take over land. It's you just like when they claim a farm over in Norway, you put your stuff there, right? You bury your stuff.
yes,
So the
and
more
he drove
stuff you
his
can bring
pillar away.
yeah, the more
Yeah,
stuff you can bring and just settle and thrive, that's how you acquired that land, then it's yours in their
yeah,
mind.
and then that gives new meaning to the grave sites, because that's really the basis of most of our knowledge is the grave, how that they actually packed their ship with
Yeah,
all the goods to go to the other side.
Yeah,
and
all this stuff was packed. Yeah, they found
yeah,
burial sites with the barrels full of food and,
the
that was pretty
ravens and
too.
the
Mhm.
yeah, yep,
Livestock, yeah.
yeah. So they weren't messing around.
No, they knew how to pack a ship.
All
Yeah.
right, cool.
Alright, that was good, I love
Yeah,
that. That was
thanks.
simple and, like, very logistical, that was perfect.
And I love your titles of all our shows that you're doing. They're awesome.
Some of them are a little I
I
think I get
love them.
too weird, but
Don't stop doing what you're doing.
okay.
Okay,
Alright.
awesome.
Anything else, any housekeeping or anything
I don't
for our
think
viewers?
so.
We're hoping to get an interview with someone.
Yep, yep. We'll
Working on
start
that.
doing that. It sounds like we heard back, and so they're working on timing.
Yeah, so that'll be
So,
cool.
yeah.
And yeah,
Okay. Well, then I
okay.
will see you on Monday.
Alright.
Okay.
Okay. Love
Does
you.
that work for you next week?
Uh-huh.
Monday? And then we're
Then
traveling.
we're driving on Wednesday to come see you, so
Yeah.
that's perfect.
Okay. All
Alright.
right.
Okay.
Okay. Love you. Thank
I
you.
love you.
Bye.